English lesson problem? Worry not, because this channel is for you. I am Teacher Anor, and together, let us learn English in the easiest way. Hello, 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 English 9 learners! Today is such a great day for us to learn our lesson in English 9. It's all about analysis of the material viewed. If you are ready to learn with me, come on, let's start! There are 3 objectives that we are going to learn in this lesson. 1. Analyze the information contained in the material viewed. 2. Extract information from the material viewed. 3. Use the plot to analyze the information in the material viewed. Before we start learning our lesson today, let us increase our vocabulary by giving the meaning of the difficult word found in each statement. If you are ready with your paper and pen, here is statement number 1. Evidently, the untethered electronic voice is preferable to human contact. A. Preferred. B. Prepared. C. Limited. D. Provided. Write the letter of the correct answer on your paper. Go! Here we go with statement number 2. The driver shushed us because he could not hear the person on the other end of his cell phone. A. Called. B. Ordered to be silent. C. Reminded. D. Warned. Go! Let's proceed to statement number 3. The communications revolution makes us stop talking to one another. This makes us cringe. A. Glad. B. Happy. C. Shrink in fear. D. Shout for joy. Vocabulary number 4. I've put myself on technology restriction. No instant messaging to people near me. A. Limit. B. Priority. C. Primacy. D. Urgency. Moving on to the next activity, directions. Identify if the statement is true or false based on the illustration provided. Study first the illustration, then answer these 5 statements whether each of them is true or false. If you are ready, this is statement number 1. Technology can bring us to places impossible to reach. 2. Technology makes things possible. 3. Technology can replace the happiness when shared with someone else. 4. Mankind needs someone to talk to. 5. Technology can assist human. If you are ready, then proceed to answering this activity. Good luck! If you could still recall our previous lessons in English, there are several elements of a short story. This consists of character, setting, theme, point of view, and plot. This time, we're going to talk about the plot. What is a plot? The plot is a sequence of events that force a character to make increasingly difficult decisions, driving the story toward a climactic event and resolution. It is further divided into sub-elements. This time, we're going to know what are the sub-elements of the plot of the story. The elements of the plot consist of exposition or introduction to a story, the rising action, the climax or turning point, the falling action, and the resolution. Let us try to study each element of the plot. The exposition or introduction to a story includes the primary characters' names, the setting, the mood, and time. While the rising action includes the conflict in all of the events that lead to the eventual climax, including character development and events that create suspense. The climax or turning point is the most exciting point of the story and is a turning point for the main character's plot or goals. The falling action is everything that happens as a result of the climax, including the wrapping up of plot points, questions being answered, and character development. The resolution is not always a happy ending, but it does complete the story. It can leave a reader with questions, answers, frustration, or satisfaction. This is a synopsis to the radio play entitled Sorry, Wrong Number by Lucille Fletcher. A wealthy invalid, sick for 12 years, querulous, self-centered, neurotic Mrs. Stevenson found herself completely alone in her house at 53 North Sutton Place near the Queensboro Bridge. Thinking that her husband, Mr. Albert Stevenson, would be home, she gave her nurse and the servants the night off. When her husband was not yet home, she called the operator to connect her to her husband's office at Murray Hill 4-0098. She was complaining to herself that every time she dials, the line was always busy. At last, the operator connected her, but accidentally connected her to another number, so she overheard a conversation between a killer George and his boss about a murder plot to use a knife that the murder should look like a robbery. The murder would take place at 11 o'clock in the evening. The victim was a woman home alone who lives near a bridge just as the train crosses the bridge, so the sound will mask any scream from the victim. Horrified of what she heard, she called the operator and related to the chief operator of what she heard and demanded to trace that call source. The operator explained that only the police could do that job and the owner of the telephone company. The operator connected her to the police station. Sergeant Duffy was on duty at Precinct 43. She related the conversation she overheard 8 minutes earlier, but Sergeant Duffy paid no attention, saying that they received much information about crimes and others. Later, Mrs. Stevenson received a call from Western Union that a telegram was sent from her husband saying that he is leaving for Boston at 11 p.m. for an urgent business. She called the information to give her the number of Henchley Hospital, where she requested a nurse, but Nurse Phillips will be back at 11 p.m. While she was still speaking to the woman in the hospital, she heard a click on her phone. She was scared that someone was in the house. She dialed the operator and spoke in a suffocated voice that the operator asked her to speak louder. She told the operator that someone was in the house downstairs who was going to murder her. She screamed, "Give me the police department!" The operator connected her to the police department. Sergeant Duffy, still on duty, answered Mrs. Stevenson's call, but George answered, "Sorry, wrong number," then hangs the phone. So, my dear English learners, I hope that you have understood the radio play entitled Sorry, Wrong Number by Lucille Fletcher. It's time for you to use your paper and pen to choose the letter of the correct answer. How much have you understood with the story? This is question number 1. Why did Mrs. Stevenson call the operator for the first time? A. She was lonely and wanted someone to talk to. B. Her maid already left and she needed help. C. She needed a doctor to bring her medication. D. She repeatedly called her husband but his line was busy. You may start answering now. Go! Are you ready for question number 2? Here we go. What number is Mrs. Stevenson attempting to call, asking to be connected to her husband's office? A. Murray Hill 4-0098. B. Lake Terrace 10-5465. C. Henderson Mill 5-1287. Or letter D, 2nd Avenue 23-8988. Question number 3. Why was Mrs. Stevenson very anxious to trace the call? A. The description fits the place where she lives. B. She is a retired policewoman. C. She heard a murder plot over the phone. D. She wants to know the owner of the telephone company. Here we go with question number 4. How was Mrs. Stevenson able to hear the conversation between the two men? A. They were outside her window. B. They were on her husband's phone. C. Western Union sent her a telegram. Or letter D. The operator accidentally connected her to their line. Save your best answer to question number 5. What sound covered the scream of Mrs. Stevenson when she was murdered? A. Train. B. Airplane. C. Car's horn. Or letter D. Ship. Pretty sure that you have understood the drama play entitled Sorry, Wrong Number. Now let's talk about the plot of the story. But First, let's try to talk again what plot is. The plot is a literary term used to describe the events that make up a story or the main part of a story. These events relate to each other in pattern or a sequence. The structure of a novel depends on the organization of events in the plot of the story. A plot is one of the most important parts of a story and has many different purposes. The plot focuses attention on the important characters and their roles in the story. It motivates the characters to affect the story and connects the events in an orderly manner. The plot creates a desire for the reader to read by absorbing them in the middle of the story, ensuring they want to know what happens next. Furthermore, the plot forms a memory in readers' minds, allowing them to think about the book and even make them want to read it again. By identifying and understanding the plot, the reader can understand the message being conveyed by the author and the explicit or implicit moral of the story. Look at the example given. Let us study the example event on each element of the plot. Can you still recall the events that happened in the radio drama entitled Sorry Wrong Number? Well, this time, let's do this activity entitled Plot It. Determine which part of the plot each event belongs to. Label them as E for exposition, RA for rising action, C for climax, FA for falling action, and R for resolution. If you are ready, you may do it with a partner. Let us start. So, my dear English learners, I know that you have learned a lot about the elements of the plot and that you were able to understand how to analyze the materials you viewed. In this activity, you are going to read a selection, then you're going to complete the plot diagram given. The selection is about Revenge by Philip Cleveland. If you are ready, then you can read it with me. A young man in the village had been badly insulted, and he hurried to the pastor to tell him about it, adding that he was going immediately to his offender and avenge his honor. "Better go home, son," said the pastor kindly. "But I've been insulted." "That's exactly why you should go home at this time. An insult is like mud." "I know that, and I'm going to clean it up." "Son, there is one thing you might as well learn now as later. Mud brushes off a lot more easily when it is dry." on to checking your understanding of today's lesson. Here is question number 1. You are going to raise your hand and you are going to select the letter of the correct answer. Let's try this question number 1. What is the exposition of a story? A. The turning point. B. The beginning of the story. C. The resolution. D. The climax. What about this question number 2? What is the rising action of a story? A. The beginning of the story. B. The point of highest intensity. C. The falling action. Or D. The events leading up to the climax. We are not yet over. This is question number 3. What is the climax of the story? A. The point of highest intensity. B. The turning point. C. The resolution. Or D. The falling action. And here we go with question number 4. What is the falling action of a story? A. The beginning of the story. B. The point of highest intensity. C. The events leading up to the climax. Or D. The resolution. Last question, number 5. What is the resolution of a story? A. The turning point. B. The beginning of the story. C. The point of highest intensity. D. The end of the story where loose ends are tied up. As your assignment, you are going to read a story of your choice. Complete the information needed below to complete the given activity. You may start doing this at home tonight. So, we are going to check this when we meet each other again tomorrow. So, in today's lesson, always remember that plot is the skeleton of a story, while characters are the flesh and blood that bring it to life. Let's remember this by Jane Yolen. Goodbye for now. See you on my next video.